and cost $20 million to build. Now take a look at the front of this amazing submersible. Well, this is where most of the action takes place. The crewmen inside look out through these 3 portholes. And from there, they operate these 2 electronically controlled arms. They're used to recover a wide range of objects from the ocean floor, some weighing as much as several hundred pounds, others as weightless as a tiny teacup. Now, beneath these arms is a small basket in which some of the smallest items are placed. They're so good at manipulating these arms, I'm told the crewmen can practically thread a needle on the ocean floor. Elsewhere on the front of this Nautil, a variety of sophisticated cameras for still pictures and television, and a powerful 4,000-watt underwater lighting system. Any way you look at it, who would have believed it? Now, with her divers aboard, Nautil prepares for launching. The navigators have it right. The Titanic should be straight down. We'll find out when we return in just a moment. This is the bridge of the Nadir, the command center of this expedition and headquarters for the submersible operations. And back here is the communication center, the link from the mothership to the Nautil, where the most sophisticated acoustic communications, sonar, and computer systems maintain constant contact with the submersible, and actually track it as it moves across the ocean floor. That's 12,500 feet below, 2.5 miles down. As Nautil descends, she enters a world of total darkness, of absolute silence. 2.5 miles down, the ocean pressure will reach an incredible 6,000 pounds per square inch. At Nautil's core, a 7-foot titanium sphere. Cramped inside, 3 divers and a massive array of guidance, navigational, and communication equipment. The co-pilot and observer recline while the pilot sits. All 3 look out through portholes of foot-thick glass. Prior to the dive, Sub-Commander Nargiolet and photographer Ralph White plan a mission.
The sub will drop here.
Yes.
And maneuver in towards the bow section of the Titanic, and most of its operations will be on the bow.
On the bow, yes.
Transponders, small sonar devices which emit pulsing signals, have earlier been placed on the bottom. These signals are used by the Nadir and the Nautil to home in on the Titanic.
Do you think we can go up and check the bridge today? See if there's a bridge under that overhang?
Yes.
Coming out of total darkness, the lights begin to pick up the ghostly image of the Titanic's bow. No matter how many times one dives to the Titanic, the sheer power of the sea, of what she's done to her, leaves you in shock. Looking down, we see the auxiliary anchor nested right next to the boom. handrail, you see the fair leads, the anchor chain. The bow anchor is almost covered by the rivers of rust pouring down on it from the hawser pipe. In a few years, there'll be nothing left in the shape of an anchor. Using a brush, the Nautile's robotic arm gently sweeps away 75 years of rust from the port bow. Slowly the letter A appears. Then a T. You can barely see it, but the name of the ship is definitely there. Grotesque streamers formed by bacteria and rust run down the ship like poisonous rivers, devouring and destroying the metal beneath. They drape the sunken ship like tangled ropes of Spanish moss. Coming up from the port side, we cross over the anchor chain and the main deck, which was once rich teak, now all eaten away by wood-boring organisms. This bow section is the only part of the Titanic that remains somewhat intact. The last part that reminds us of Her Majesty. Up the fallen foremast toward the lookout post. It was from here the two men first saw the iceberg that would do this great lady in. Below it lies a wing bridge, crushed beneath the fallen mast. Farther up the mast, we see where steel was joined to wood, creating the fabulous height of that mast. And twisted back into the wreckage, a davit, which swung a lifeboat out that night. You can't help wondering if it held Molly Brown's boat, or if it lowered the one Mrs. Strauss refused to get into. The ship's steam steering gear, its wooden wheel long ago eaten away. Below the port wing bridge, one of the ship's engine telegraphs. Whoever used it to signal the engine room to a full stop reacted too late. This door, behind the bridge, led into the boat deck officers' quarters. Coming down the port side of the boat deck, again, rust and decay have taken away the beauty of this once proud ship. Here we reach the point where the proud lady's back was broken, snapped like a twig, if you will, separating the huge bow section from the smaller stern section. And here the decks drop off sharply downward, collapsed one on the other, as though smashed flat by a giant fist. While no one can accurately describe precisely what happened the night the great ship sank, the wreck does provide some clues. The prevailing theory is that when the Titanic collided with the iceberg, it opened a gaping hole in the bow, allowing huge quantities of water to pour in. The bow, filling with water, dipped deeper and deeper beneath the surface, forcing the stern, which was filled with air, higher and higher above the waterline. As the ship began to slide forward, there was a twisting and torquing motion as the metals ripped apart. The bow tears away and heads for the bottom, while the stern section appears to right itself before tilting skyward and slipping beneath the surface. As the two sections of the ship sank, debris from the break emptied out and fell to the bottom. The two sections of Titanic came to rest some 2/3 of a mile apart, and in between, the massive debris field.